Hey guys, so today I'll be showing you one of a few different ways to properly rig your Cressi Comanche spear gun. So you're going to need your gun, a spear shaft, some crimps, some heavy duty leader, and hand crimps. So I am using a shock cord, that way my leader doesn't break. It's recommended, but obviously you don't have to use one. It makes your line last much longer, and they're just kind of they can help make sure that you don't bend your shaft if you jam it into something. Also, I have a reel on my gun. A lot of people don't because they're just shooting short distances. But I'll show you how to rig your gun with and without a reel. So what I'm going to do is, if you have a shock cord, if you have a reel as well, you're just going to go ahead and use just any kind of knot you want, really, but I'm using a self-cinching knot, just a fisherman's knot. Wrap it around 2 or 3 times and just pull it tight, and every time it'll just pull itself tighter. But otherwise, you want to go ahead and loop it through the white part of the shock cord through this part of the muzzle, and then when it reaches the end, it'll just be it'll give a little give to it. I also have a snap swivel on the end of my shock cord. Just a little trick that I learned in marathon when I was spearfishing. Makes life in the water a little bit easier, and I'll tell you why that is once I'm finished rigging it. So once you have your shock cord on there, with or without the reel, you're going to go ahead and get your leader. I'm using 200-pound test leader. I would be using 300, but the store I went to only had 200, so that'll work. But if you're shooting anything bigger than really like some small grouper or snapper or anything bigger than that, I would definitely recommend more like 300 or 400 pound, just in case. So you're going to take your crimp and leader, put the crimp on first, then feed it through the end of your shaft and back through your crimp, and leave it about an inch and a half at the end. Then go ahead and crimp it. If you have much of an end, if you have anything over about an inch, I would go ahead and trim it down, but since I don't have much, I'll just leave it as is. Then once you've crimped it onto the end of your shaft, go ahead and take a fair amount and go ahead and take your shaft, and feed it into the gun just like you'd load it any other time. And make sure that it snaps in. Then go ahead and take your leader and feed it through the groove in the muzzle and go down. And if you don't have a reel on your gun, you want to go down and around this trigger release right here, and then back up to the muzzle on the other side, and then there's a bigger hole here. There's also a smaller one. Feed it through the smaller one and then go ahead and crimp it right there. And that'd be it. Or crimp it to your shock cord that's attached to here if you have one, which I would definitely suggest. But if you have a reel, like I do, then you can do one of two things. You can put your leader in this clip right here on either side, or you can put it in front of the reel. I have been using it in front of the reel. I've only shot this gun probably about 7 or 8 times, and so far it's done well for me. I've got no complaints other than right here. Well, actually, I kind of have 2 complaints. I had to cut my own notch in both of my shafts because the original bands that came with them are super tight, and like even my dad couldn't pull them down to the artificial notch, so I bought these new bands. They're called hammerhead bands. They're actually really good. They're super stretchy. They've held up well so far. Just give it a little more power. That way you can get down to the actual notch. But other than the bands and having to cut my own notches, it's been good. I've got no other complaints. But yeah, so I've been using the clip in front of the reel. Next time I use it, I'm probably going to use the one on the side just to see how much of a difference it makes. See if it does anything weird or good. So I'm just going, so once you have it run through the gun, come down and clip it into one of those. And make sure there's no slack here, or else you're going to end up with a lot of excess leader and you're going to have to recrimp. So then once you've got it clipped in, go about halfway up the gun and go ahead and cut that. Then take one of your crimps and put it on your leader. And if you don't have a snap swivel on your shock cord, just go ahead and put it through and then crimp it onto your shock cord. But if you do have a snap swivel, which I recommend, then go ahead and make your own little loop about 1 inch or 2 inches roughly. I'd call that good, probably like 1.5 inches. So go ahead and crimp that. And attach it to your snap swivel. And then reel it tight. You're good to go. That's it. So the reason that you should use or it makes it easier to use a snap swivel is because if you shoot a fish and you're in like a good school, or you really just want to get the fish off your spear, you can just take your leader out of the snap swivel and pull it all the way through, rather than trying to get your flapper to go through the fish and tearing up all the meat too. So it just makes life easier. It's just a cheap little thing that you can do to improve your experience spearfishing. And so if you like this video or have any questions, drop a like, subscribe, leave a comment. You can also get to me and ask me questions at Marco Island Fishing Channel at gmail.com. Thanks again, and hope to see you soon.